AI investors, March 25th. We'll see a few headlines here. We got GME pop on hype to buy some Bitcoin. Looks like 6% after hours pop. I don't trade this one, but it's one of those meme stocks. So it looks like it's kind of forming, just from the technicals, it's forming a triangular pattern. Which way it'll break out, who knows? So no position on this one, but yeah, we just watch this triangular pattern, see if it breaks out or below. Just a small pop after hours. But the big news today was UPS and transports. We knew already FedEx was in trouble. But now we're seeing UPS having some bearish movement. We'll put on our normal technical indicators here. Let's go with the moving average, a 200-day, and let's go with RSI, and we'll look at MACD. So we're seeing a close below the 200, so bearish. And also, I noticed in this chart, yes, we have some gaps above that might need to be filled at some point, namely this gap here, 130. But if we go back further enough, there are more gaps from a long time ago. Let's see if I can go back further enough here. There might be a small gap around 80 in the past, so you really have to go far back. But regardless, it looks like a bearish pattern here. It's respecting this 50-day, and looks similar to EL actually a little bit. Let's see if it can hold this line here. This line, the UPS can hold this support level right here. If it can't hold that support, we're headed straight down, probably into the 80 zone. I would guess right here would be the next kind of support after that. So 82-ish would be support. I don't doubt it. Every market correction was preceded by a decline in the transport. So in 08, 09, we see UPS go down. Basically, we see some weakness here, topping pattern weakness, doesn't break out, and then falls down, right? That's an 08 crisis. Arguably, we have a bigger bubble here. We're at already a 50% or so, 60% discount from all-time highs. And here we got about 60% discount, so roughly the same size as 08, 09, but if we break this line, I think we're headed towards a bigger problem here. UPS, that's not boding well for the overall fundamentals of the economy. FedEx, same thing. I mentioned the other day, no position, bearish. It had the giant sell-off, but buyback after earnings. But overall, it's looking bearish to me. I'm not in the transports. Transports lead. It's a leading economic indicator. Usually when transports fall, then the economy, it's a signal economy is weakening. And there are many YouTubers that are talking about the economy weakening, but now we're actually seeing it pop up in many different areas, many different stocks. We see oil slightly weakening, but it's not really falling. That's just due to the stagflationary environment we're in. Anything that's discretionary too gets tossed out to the wolves. So, we're seeing, again, like in my previous videos, FL, Foot Locker, Nike. One could argue that these are not discretionary, but they really are to some degree, because people always trade down to cheaper options when economic times get tough, or they just wear their shoes a little bit longer. That's what ends up happening. A couple of winners here. Costco bounced a little bit. And TTD, that was one that we've been talking about on this channel for a little bit, and it looks like we're turning a corner in TTD. This MACD arguably, we'll see what happens, but arguably this is a bullish. We see the momentum slowing down to the downside. What we want to see there is a cross. When we have that cross, usually it's bullish cross, and just before that cross happens, usually we have a big uptick. So I could see this heading higher, maybe to the 50 or 200 here. So let's see, 200's right at 76. I think that's probably in the radar. That's in the game. So I don't expect a complete V-shaped recovery, but who knows? I expect kind of a zigzag pattern where you have a rip, and then maybe there's a dip, and then a rip and a dip, and then it hits this first support, and then we'll see what happens. Either it goes down, or it's a good place to take profits, and then reassess the situation. Maybe take half off the table, and then see what happens. If it pops higher, great. If not, you have profits, so you're just playing with the house money at that point. Let's take a look at Baidu. Baidu is a nothing burger today, kind of down only 0.5%. We've been watching these equities because of this golden cross here happening when the 50 crosses the 200. From a longer perspective, it looks as though the 50 didn't cross the 200 yet. But if this momentum starts to pick up, then we could see the fortunes of Baidu change. So it kind of remains to be seen. EBS is one we've also been watching. It was a little bearish on the day. It's a small cap, so follows IWM. IWM is the small cap index, so and also IBB too, which is the biotechs. Yeah, I mean, recently these small caps have been really underperforming, and just underperforming in general. One could say this is a contrarian indicator. We traded down to this support here, and we see a bounce. So we'll see what happens in the coming days. I do think we'll bounce maybe a little bit more, and then come down a little bit. So that's what I see happening. But anything's possible. We could bounce off of this support and then break out to all-time highs. The curious thing about IWM is that in 2022 we're basically flat, right? 226 or so. Here, same thing, and then we go down. Whereas SPY is hitting all-time highs, and the same thing with the Qs. So one could either make an argument that there's going to be a bull case scenario for the small caps in the future, because of the relative underperformance, which means there'd be relative outperformance in the future, as opposed to the Qs or SPY. So that's just the underlying theory that many people have adopted, that since it's underperforming, it's got to be an outperformer in the future. So yeah, I don't see, maybe there's a little bounce here and then we start to roll over again. Let's play it by ear on this one. Tesla, we saw, was one we were watching. We saw a breakout above the 280. So it might actually test this 320 area because of the sharp MACD cross. We were watching that right around 220. We have this gap that needs to be filled around 250 now, but perhaps it'll wake up and kind of go towards this 320 area. We'll watch that carefully. I didn't catch this one, but it seems to be popular. Hain, again bearish, but I believe that Hain is creating a long-term bottom here. We do have a significant gap at 16 and also at 32. So I think as people see the bearishness in the economy, what is one asset that they run to? They run to the food stocks. We see in the MACD potential bullish MACD. We would like to see it more. This MACD line's a little bit closer and coming up a little bit further. But it looks like it's in a basing pattern here at around $3. So one to watch, put on your watch list. And Farm, we're watching this one closely. I said there's a possibility it could go up to like 4 or something in the future. We're watching it right here, right around this 220 support level. So as we zoom in, we're seeing that looks like we might get this cross coming up in the coming days. It looks like possibly a tradable action in farm for a small bounce, at least in the short term. If this turns out to be a bullish cross, then we got some RSI ticking up. We'll add accumulation in, and if accumulation is also confirming, it's confirming a bit here, we're getting a bit of accumulation, we might see a pop in this. So my target for this probably over the next year is 4 to 5 to fill this gap here, right around 4 to 5, which is not unprecedented given how much this stock has been absolutely crushed. So last time it was this cheap was 2011, and this is not even adjusted for inflation, so it's probably hitting your all-time lows here. Is something to watch out for. All right, just want to give everybody a quick shout out and quick update here. And like, subscribe, comment if you like the content. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care for now.